I want to go back home and be the president of Honduras. So even if you don't have nothing, especially like if you don't find money or a cell phone or a watch, they get mad and they'll stab you
Just because you
just
did.
because you don't have anything. So when the documents came, that's literally when my mom was fighting cancer. Yeah, there's no education in our country, very poor, there's no help. And I would say there's countries that help, but it's a country that is very corrupt. There's a lot of kids that live in the street in Brazil.
What did they do to them?
Disappeared. We don't know where they're at. I'm pretty sure the same thing in Honduras too. You were talking about kidnap. Oh, one of my cousins got kidnapped. That's something I learned from my mom. You don't trust nobody. My church is my house. That's the house I have to protect. That's my church. My house, my family, my kids.
That's
What an
wild.
introduction.
That's wild.
It is wild. It is wild. It's crazy. And this story I haven't told anybody. They'll be the first time I said this.
So, Christian, so today I want to talk about a lot about entrepreneurship,
Okay.
finance, leadership, and of course, I want to hear your story.
Okay.
I want to hear your story because of a few things. So, I came from Lithuania, right?
Right.
So, I'm an immigrant. You're an immigrant as well. So, what we see right now is we have a border crisis. So, the U.S. has a border crisis, right? A lot of
Right.
immigrants come into the U.S. And I believe, I want to say 95%, maybe 90%, they're not doing great financially.
Right.
And almost the only option they have is to do some criminal stuff.
Right.
I want to hear your story today because you're one of those examples that says you can be an immigrant from a very poor country,
Yes.
very dangerous country, and you can still make it.
The number one dangerous country in the world, by the way.
Yes, I saw the statistics. Like number one.
One.
Honduras
Number one.
is number one.
Number one in criminal. There's for every, I believe, 100,000, there's like 14 murders. in the
Murders,
country.
rapes.
All that stuff. 90% of the population is armed, by the way.
Wow.
90% of the population.
And it's a very Christian country, very religious.
I would say that religious, but yes, most of them are Christians. Majority are very Christians, yeah.
So when I go to a Google and I type in Honduras, is it safe in Honduras? So this is what I get from U.S. Department of State. Reconsider travel to Honduras due to crime and kidnapping. Some areas have increased risk. Read the entire travel advisory. Do not travel due to crime. If you decide to travel to Honduras, avoid demonstrations. Be aware of your surroundings. Avoid walking or driving at night. Do not physically resist any robbery attempt. Be extra vigilant when visiting banks or ATMs. Do not display signs of wealth, such as wearing expensive watches or jewelry. Exercise caution using cell phones in public, including inside of cars, while stopped in traffic. That's
What an
wild.
introduction.
That's wild.
It is wild. It is wild. It's just crazy. Even if you don't have nothing on you, let's say. We're recording already?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. So even if you don't have nothing, especially like if you don't find money or a cell phone or a watch, they get mad and they'll stab you.
Just because you
Just
did.
because you don't have anything.
So you kind of like have no option.
You have no option. You have no option. Clearly.
Wow.
So that's crazy.
Tell me about yourselves. How old are you? When did you get here?
So I'm 38 years old right now. I immigrated to this country when I was 15 years old. Came here. We waited 11 years for our documents in Honduras. My mom's sister was the one who sent the petition for my mom, since she was married with my dad. So the whole package was for the whole family. So we waited 11 years for that to happen. I'm actually a Christian. I'm a believer. I believe in God, and I guess God has His perfect timings. So when the documents came, that's literally when my mom was fighting cancer, breast cancer. We come to this country 5 months after we came here. I was the one myself that translated to my mom from English to Spanish that she only had 5 to 6 months to live. She passed away literally 5-6 months later. She was 42 years old when that happened, back in 2002. So literally a year after we come to this country, no friends, just the family, that we had here, but not financially stable. when somebody dies, we come to
Especially
this,
mom.
especially our mom. Yeah, new country, knew everything. We didn't speak the language. I was just in high school, and I was 15 years old, and she passed away, and no money. We had to raise money by asking friends and family that we had to
Back
be
in
able to bury
Honduras?
my no in Honduras and from here too, to be able to bury my mom. Yeah, and 2 years went by without my mom having a gravestone because we didn't have the $2,500 to be able to pay for it.
At the time you were 15 years
I
old.
was 15 years old. There was nothing I can do about that time.
When was it? Where was your dad?
Oh, he was here. My dad was here. So it was my dad, my brother Alan, which they were both of them were the breadwinners. My dad used to work in the airport, and my brother used to work at Radisson by LAX. So they had these very minimum wage job at the time. And when my mom passed away, they were barely 6-8 months working. So there was no savings. There was no nothing because we left our country. Like literally, let's say today, my mom goes to the downtown of Honduras, and she comes back and she said, "We're leaving tomorrow." So it was not like preparation for a trip. It was like, "We're leaving tomorrow. Where are we going?" "Oh, we got to be in the airport tomorrow morning because we're leaving to the U.S." From one day to another. We didn't sell our house. We didn't have nothing. We just grab a backpack. And next morning, we didn't even say goodbye to our family, friends, nothing. Just the people that were, close to us, that we were able to talk to them, and they were leaving. And literally like that. So my mom, I guess in a sense, had a feeling of things that were going to be happening for her. And she said, "I just want to leave you guys in the United States. I don't want to leave you guys in Honduras. I want to be able to take you guys there. And I want to be able to guys, to be in a country that you guys will have a better future." So.
And your mom was some kind of a boss in your family? She had a louder voice than your dad?
Yeah, we did both of them, but because my mom was the one who raised us, she was a stay-home mom, and then she had to be strong because it was 4 boys.
Yeah.
So she would smack us all the time. But I'm grateful for those things because even right now in our society here in the United States, a lot of kids, they cannot survive a day of my childhood, I would say, because my mom used to be very strict with us. Values and principles. The house has to be clean. You gotta mop the floor. You wanna go play soccer? You gotta leave the house clean. You gotta go play soccer, no problem. But the house has to be clean before you go.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah, I loved it because one day, when you're a kid, you hate that, right? You hate that because it's putting in standards, right? And sometimes when people are putting you to standards, you don't like that.
Yeah.
So my mom was really, really good at that, and she was tough. She was a tough cookie. I was so scared of my mom that one time I threw myself on the 2nd floor in Honduras from the house, and I break my arm. Took me to the hospital. They put the casket in my arm. We went back home, and I still got my butt kicked. She still kicked my butt, So, but I'm thankful for that because she showed me how to be respectful to people. Doesn't matter whether they have money, they don't have money. You're always respectful. No matter the age. Doesn't matter, you're always respectful. A please and a thank you goes a long way. So every time that we go anywhere, at least my brothers and I, people is very welcoming us all the time because we're very respectful. Doesn't matter whether you're successful, whether you have money, whether you don't have money, we don't care. Because at the end of the day, everybody has the opportunity in this life, right? So we don't know, things can change in the future too. So
I can only imagine how one mom can, if dad is always at work, so one mom, one female can raise 4 boys. That's so much of a testosterone at home.
Yes.
Wow. That's the only way to teach you some values and principles.
Oh yeah,
with
definitely.
The hard hand.
Yeah, hard hand. She was tough. She was a tough cookie, but again, like I said, everything she did, I'm thankful. Because that is exactly what made me the man that I am today. Even though that I had her until I was 15.
So were you poor back there in Honduras?
If I was what?
Poor.
Poor, yeah. We were, I would say, not poor because there's levels in Honduras, but majority of people is like middle income. It's like a big difference between wealthy and middle income. It's a very, very marked, society that either you're like very rich or you're like down here. And then there's the layer of very poor, right? So I would say we were kind of middle income. We had a house.
You mean you had a house and you had the food on the table?
Exactly.
No vacation?
No vacation. Never took vacation. Never traveled with my family.
So that has to be a bare minimum.
Bare minimum, yeah.
That has to be, that
Yeah.
doesn't have to be.
But there was people
middle.
that were worse than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, people that work worse than us. So I would say that, my dad always worked hard, and he always provide for us, like food, always on the table, clothes, every Christmas. So, but no trips though. We never travel anywhere. We never went on vacations anywhere. Vacations typical is like the beach and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You'll go, but it wasn't like something that every summer we used to do. No, because there was no money for that. It was just.
And it's not typical for Hondurans as well, because where do they travel to Mexico? No.
No. We have
You have your own.
do our own
Yeah.
stuff in Honduras. Yeah.
So this is what I read about Honduras on some forums. Honduras is a very poor country, and many times people from poor families decide that joining gangs and killing for money is the only way to eat. Honduras is not dangerous if you don't ask for it, and if you're not involved in things that can get you killed. It is also very dangerous because there is no education, so people are very uneducated.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no education in our country. Very poor. There's no help. And I would say there's countries that help, but it's a country that is very corrupt. It's very corrupt, unfortunately. There's been many times that, for example, Japan was trying to build a stadium in Honduras. But the only condition that they put was, we're going to bring the material, we're going to bring the workforce, and we're going to build it ourselves. They say no to that. They wanted the money. They wanted the money. And, when the money comes, we don't know where it goes. So that stadium was built in Costa Rica, by the way.
Have you ever wondered why Latin America, even South America, is not doing that great physically, financially, in all other aspects? Like I had a guy a few days ago from Argentina. Argentina is...
I was just going to tell you about him. Because the new president, the guy that just got elected, this guy is like going all in, making changes.
At
on
least
everything.
he speaks that way. At least he says...
He's very straightforward.
Yeah.
He's very straightforward. I was just watching a video right now when I was driving about him, debating in a debate that he had in Argentina. And this guy's like straightforward. This is the way we're supposed to be doing, corruption out of the way. Just like with this guy, Nayib Bukele is doing in Salvador. Salvador has changed a lot. Name it whatever the people say they're with him, and there's some people that is against them.
Yeah.
It's okay, but at the end of the day, the country's doing better.
Yeah.
The country's doing better. There's a lot of people that want to travel there now. There's a lot of things that are happening that are making the country better. So
the crime in El Salvador was crazy.
It's kind of like it was the same as Honduras. It was the same thing, but this guy just came in and cleaned everything up.
So the prisons are full.
The prisons are full, but what he did, he put MS-13 in 18th Street. They put them together. Gangs. They put them together. So it's like, okay, you guys want to kill each other, just put them together.
Also, in Honduras, there is a problem between the two gangs?
There's different gangs, different gangs.
Do they have a war against each other? Or?
Yeah, of course.
I was always wondering, like, for instance, Honduras is not a big country; it's a small country. It's a 10 million population, and etc. So when I hear that there is a lot of criminal stuff in the country, I would say, okay, so they rob, for instance, tourists, or they do some the way that Pablo did. So they're selling drugs to other countries. That's how they earn money from a side, right? But when I hear that, for instance, in Honduras there are a lot of gangs and they torture, kill, and rape all the locals, you kill your own people. Okay, maybe you can have a hatred towards other nations, maybe other race, something, but towards your own people.
It's to our own people, to our own people. And the thing that I would say is an excuse, but everything comes down because there's no jobs, everything is control. Everything is control, and then there's not a lot of opportunities. That's why my mom wanted to make the effort to bring us here, because she saw it. There's no opportunity out there. Either if you don't know somebody that is well connected, you're gonna end up working Pizza Hut, McDonald's
for a few bucks.
But if you're not well connected, there's no future there.
And the top of the top in Honduras is government officials or oligarchs, right?
Yeah, government officials and they control everything.
So you have no chance of
no chance.
Then you join the gang.
Yep. It's either that or you know, you got to stay alive one way or another. You got to make it. So there's not a lot of opportunities. I have family that are professional. They went to school, universities, graduated with the highest, you know, degrees or whatever. No jobs. Like my sister-in-law got graduated from university and everything with a nice, you know, business title and everything. But 2 years looking for a job. No job.
Okay, so business creates jobs. You can do business in Honduras.
You can do business in Honduras, yes, but the problem is
pay.
that you gotta pay to stay alive, because if there's something that they call it rent, that you know that they show up to you and they charge you rent. If you have a business, if you don't pay, they kill you. So basically, it's like you're paying the government for taxes, and you gotta pay these guys because they're knocking on your door. If not, they kill you.
How much do you have to pay approximately?
It's whatever they want to, whatever they say you have to give them.
So they don't say like 10%.
No, they're not. They're not asking you. Oh, so how much money do you make?
Give me 10%.
Give me 10% of that, right?
Give me $1,000.
No. Give me this much and no questions asked. That's it. It doesn't matter whether you make it or not. You have to pay this much.
And police does this?
Oh yeah, of course.
Because it's all connected.
It's all connected.
And it's like for decades.
Oh, decades that we've been in this huddle in the country.
Do you think there's ever going to an end?
Until we have somebody that is willing to make that change, yes. At one point, I want to be able to do that.
Really?
I want to go back home and be the president of Honduras and be able to make some changes. Yeah.
You're not afraid for your life?
No.
You got 4 kids.
Yeah, but I mean, the only person that can decide in my life is God. I have no decision. Obviously, if I make a stupid decision, then stupid things can happen, right? But if you do things in the right way, I mean, look at Nayib Bukele. Why haven't they killed him? Because he's well surrounded by the people he trusts. So with the culture and the company that we're building right now with the friends and things people that I'm meeting right now, I'm going to be able to be protected as well and be able to do something great for our country. And one way or another, I'm not the president, but probably in the future, 10 years from now maybe, I'll be able to have some sort of pool to make a difference in our country. And I'm open to that.
You mean financing?
Financing. When you have money, you can do a lot of things, right? The right way. So make changes. Maybe we have a lot of soccer players that are really good in our country.
Yes, soccer is
very
huge.
good players. We have right now a player in Celtics. His name is Palma. This guy is amazing. The problem that we have in Honduras is that it's like why Mexico has the teams that they have, because they provide exercise, they provide good nutrition, food for the players. They take care of the players. They make millions of dollars, Mexico, right? But you go to Honduras, these guys are eating from the corner, from the guys that are selling fried chicken in the corner.
And still makes it.
And they still make it.
He's still a good
without
player.
nutrition, without any help. They still make it, right? So that's what we need. So that's what I'm saying is probably in the future, be able to do something like that to be able to help our country as well in one way or another.
Tell me about the infrastructure in Honduras.
The what?
Infrastructure.
Infrastructure?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful country. There's a lot of money, believe it or not, in Honduras.
Where does money come from, if not business?
But the people that have money, believe it or not, is people that come from other countries. From India, we have a lot of Middle Easterns. We have a lot of people from Armenians that are coming to our country.
And they live here?
They live in Honduras, and they live in castles, like not in a house, in castles.
Those are mobsters or not?
No.
Businessmen?
There's just businessmen that come into a poor country and they rule the country.
Also, they pay the tax?
They pay the tax and they provide
safe.
jobs. They own all the malls and they build these massive malls and stuff like that. Yeah, they come and people that own a lot of stuff.
Indians and Armenians.
Wow. Yeah. So
how about technology-wise, Honduras? Internet, technologies, apps?
No.
It's like 20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years ago. Yeah, they don't have that much access to it. No.
Is there violence from the government? For instance, if you do a demonstration or something, can you beat you up with that?
Oh yeah, first you have to pay. First, if you want to do a demonstration or whatever you want, first you have to pay. First you have to
get your ass kicked.
Yeah, you have to pay, and then they like you, and then you can do whatever you need to do. But everything is fixed with money.
So every time the president changes, is there the same people?
It's the same people. It's the same group of people.
So right now you have a woman.
Do we have a woman? Yeah, Xiomara. Yeah, but if you look at the history, who was her husband? The guy that got indicted from being a president of Honduras.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Same thing. The wife, they sleep together. So what difference is it going to make, right? What difference is it going to make? It's not going to make any difference, you know?
But that's a clown world.
Huh?
It's a shit show, clown world.
It is.
It's a comedy.
But nobody can rule. Not even the United Nations can do anything about it.
Well, they could. They just don't see any...
Money talks. And
from a tourist perspective, Honduras can be huge.
Oh yeah, because Honduras, if you look at it,
safe.
If you make it safe, Honduras can be a great country. One is you look at for example, you look at Roatan. If you Google Roatan right now, you'll see the beaches, the most beautiful beaches in the world. Like you drop a quarter and you see where it lands. It's crystal clear water. Beautiful place. Beautiful place. We have a lot of nature in Honduras. There's so much to do. It's green. It's beautiful out there. But unfortunately, there's nothing you can make a life over there.
Agriculture.
I have an uncle. He's a very successful man. He has over 5,000 cows and properties. Massive properties that he has a property that you need to drive 2 hours to be able to go around it. The whole property, yeah. He's very successful over there, and he started, selling pigs when he started.
And he pays the tax.
And he pays the tax, yes, of course. But also he has security guards and stuff like that. So it's like, you're in a beautiful country, but you cannot go enjoy in a restaurant because you can get killed.
Just like what happened a few years ago in Brazil. Have you heard that story? The jiu-jitsu guy had a conflict with another guy in a restaurant. So the guy went out, took a gun, pointed, and just shot the guy. And the shooter was a police officer.
Oh wow!
Yeah. No, and he shot a very famous jiu-jitsu artist. He was top 3 in the world. Yeah, just like that. Bam.
I was in Brazil in 2014 for the World Cup.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah. It was a beautiful place, but then I hear about the stories about what they did to clean up the streets.
Never heard the
They
story.
killed a lot of kids.
What?
If you look at it, and they clean the whole streets, and we heard the stories about you go through the favelas.
Yeah.
And then there was like tanks in the bottom of the favelas. Like people couldn't go out. Through the World Cup, people couldn't leave the favelas because the police was there guarding them because of the tourists that was there. So
how did they kill those kids?
By the kids that live in the street. There's a lot of kids that live in the street in Brazil.
What did they do to them?
Disappeared. We don't know where they're at.
So my friend lives, a fellow Lithuanian lives in Brazil since 2021, I want to say.
Okay.
So he lives in Rio, in a good neighborhood, almost, I want to say, private security with arms. So he's telling me the stories. He says, I live almost by the beach, but I never go to the beach with my phone. Never.
No, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
It
was seven guys that we went together. So, it was all guys. We stayed together and we just went to watch the soccer.
He told me such a crazy story. For instance, he said, so they have a gated community, so the thieves, the robbers can get into that community. So what did they do? They buy the stuff that they're delivery guys with the food. Mm-hmm. They knock on your door, delivery. Oh, cool. You open the door.
Done.
All your stuff, bye-bye.
Yeah,
and you're
crazy.
Lucky if you don't get shot.
I'm pretty sure the same thing in Honduras too. You were talking about kidnapping. Oh, one of my cousins got kidnapped at December 24, 10 years ago.
How old was he?
He was 23.
Grown-up man.
Yeah, grown-up man.
What did they want?
Got money.
From who?
from a family, because they have a transportation. They move all the fuel nationwide in Honduras from gas station to gas station. So they have a business. So they kidnapped him too, and he was gone for like 2-3 months.
They paid the ransom?
Yeah.
What did he tell? Where he was? Where was
Well,
he?
you know what? They didn't pay the ransom. They find out who had him, and it was crazy. You know who had him? The next door neighbor.
He saw everything.
Yeah.
They got money.
Yeah, so he was the one who had him, and they find him. They found him. Thankfully, they found him. So, but you go through those things in our country.
That's like a movie.
Oh, it is like a
When
movie,
we
but
watch a movie, it's like, no, there's no way it's gonna happen right there.
It happens.
It's like this.
It happens.
Have you watched The Sound of Freedom?
Yes.
So
And it happened in Honduras.
Honduras,
The story, yeah, the little girl, and it happens all the time.
and it's not. It happens literally
Oh
all
yes.
the time.
Oh yes, it happens all the time. Because unfortunately, our people is naive. They don't have education. They believe they want an opportunity. So somebody goes there, like it happened in the movie. This father had, he didn't know any better. He leaves his little girl in a hotel. Like, you mean I want to take my little girl to a hotel and I'm gonna leave her there in a hotel room by herself? There's no way. There's no way, right? But unfortunately, this guy is like no education. He doesn't know any better.
I think he bought in because there was a woman, not a man. So he left his daughter with a woman. We kind of think of a woman can be a criminal. A woman can do that kind of a bad stuff to others.
But here in America, we know that even women do things.
They're violent.
Yeah, so here is normal for us, but back then it is not. So that's what I'm saying. It's just pure. If you haven't seen something, if you don't know about it, it's just normal for you. But it was sad to see that. But I mean, it's a great movie to keep us on our toes, especially with our kids. I have 4 kids, and I don't let my kids go sleepovers. Nope, don't even ask me. Don't even ask me.
Even if you know the family?
It doesn't matter. Even if it's my own family, I don't let my kids go anywhere.
What kind of world we live in, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, but that's something I learned from my mom. You don't trust nobody. You don't trust nobody. And just like I tell my girls, I have 3 girls, 1 boy. My oldest girl is 15, then 14. My boy is 6, and my little girl is 4. I said, you don't have best friends. And people will not agree with me or not on this, but you don't have best friends. The best friends is your wife, your mom, and your dad. That's it. That's what I tell my girls. Who's your best friend? Your daddy and mommy. Exactly. We're your best friends. Because we're never going to judge you. Because if, let's say you and I are best friends, right? Let's say. And I do drugs in front of you. Or I cheat on my wife. Okay? In front of you. You and I come into a disagreement. We're not best friends anymore. What are you going to do?
I can have some bad thoughts.
Yeah, you're going to be talking smack about me all the time with somebody else, right? So what does best friends mean? You know what I mean?
So you trust nobody?
I don't trust nobody. I always watch my back. I don't trust nobody.
But it's hard to live that way.
No, if you know when to open your mouth and when not to.
Yeah.
You learn your lesson. And I'm not saying there's people that I trust, don't get me wrong. But again, it's people that trust me as well.
But sometimes even family members stab each other.
Oh yeah. All the time. Because see, for humans, the most difficult thing you're gonna face is that if they know you, let's say drinking, going out to parties, going around with women, if you start to changing, not to do that anymore, for humans, it's not normal to accept that somebody is willing to change. That's why you need new friends, so they can meet you at the new phase of your life. But in human nature, it's almost impossible for me to see somebody else change. It's impossible. So people cannot accept that. And that's when the friction starts to come. Even with my own brothers. I have my little brother. He knows what I used to be before. Drinking, going out to parties and stuff like that. He started seeing a different man. when I started in this company in PHP, he started seeing a different person, a different man, right? Reading books, talking a different language, talking about values and principles, respect to woman, to wife, right? So for him was like kind of different, you know what I mean?
And before that, you weren't that way?
No, I was, party, drinking, going out with, multiple females and stuff like that. Because, it's at one point we're young, right? But again, sometimes people can see you from the different person that you're becoming as well.
Have you ever wondered how come the most religious countries in the world have the most problems? So Latin America, South America, very religious. Brazil, Argentina, right? So Honduras, Mexico, and so many problems, so much pervert.
Because that is a problem. The majority of them, they take advantage of their power. That's the problem that we have.
But we can say that they're not true believers, because if you're a true believer,
if you ask me, I never went to church. I never believe in church. I never believe in church.
Because that's people. That's
people.
human.
It's human. And I always tell people, my church is my house. That's the house I have to protect. That's my church. My house, my family, my kids, right? I can go to a church and listen to a message. There's different people I like. Like, I used to go to a church in Irvine, Mariners Church. Amazing. The pastor there, Eric Greger, somebody I admire. Then there's another guy that I always look up in YouTube. His name is Frederick, I believe, Pastor Frederick. He's amazing, but you connect with the message. But sometimes, who goes to church?
Well, usually people who are messed up.
Who has problems? You're looking for an avenue of...
Yeah, that's a great place to kind of seek for problem solving.
For problem solving, right? So, and I'm not saying, right, we get all type of people that go. And, like I said, I go to church with my kids every Sunday. We go to church because that's something I want them to know, that they have to be close to God, right? So, unfortunately, in my country, though, everything is about money. Everything is about money.
Even in church?
Even in church.
Because Honduras is a Catholic, right?
No, Christian.
Yeah, but denomination is, you're Catholics or Protestants?
So Catholic is one thing, Christian is a different thing.
Also, that's why how you call it. Okay.
Catholic, you have a priest.
Yes.
Church, you have a pastor. They call him pastor,
So you had pastors,
a
not
pastor,
priests. So Pope is nobody to you?
No, nobody to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even in Christian churches, it's all about the money.
It's all about the money, of course. Of course. How do you go to this? How can you go to a church and it's a building that is fancy, modern, when you got people outside starving?
Yeah.
How do you explain that?
You always ask for money, for more and more money.
How do you explain that? How do you go to Rome and you got walls of gold?
Gold, literally.
And you got people outside begging for a piece of bread. For me, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. So yesterday I was watching a video about Benito Mussolini. So at one point, the Pope almost blessed him. Really? You didn't see him? And he was already in the government. He was already a prime minister. He was already a fascist. Yeah.
Wow. For me, like I said, my wife and I, we go back and forth because she grew up in a church. She grew up in a church, and we go back and forth sometimes. That I tell her, for me, going into church doesn't make a difference, but I see it from the point of view of being an example for my kids, and that's what sometimes I try to do, to be an example for my kids and go to church and be able to be there with them.
So I was following this guy, this pastor from Phoenix, Arizona, Mark Driscoll.
I don't know who it is.
I like the guy. So he's very harsh. He's unapologetic. He says, I'm unapologetic. I'm all for the Jesus. I'm all for the Bible. So I've been following him for, I want to say, 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
Then I see the message. And I see a message when he does a Instagram video. And he says that Allah Akbar means that our God is greater. So in that message, he tries to pin Muslims against the Christians.
Wow.
That's not the way you preach. I believe the animosity in the world is so high, you should lower the.
It's like our CEO Patrick says, everybody has a point of view. You have a point of view, I have my point of view. We can talk about it, but that doesn't mean we need to disagree or fight to each other. Because you have your beliefs, I have my beliefs. Let's debate. What is good for me, what is good for you, what is in the between. Let's find a middle ground that we can communicate.
We're not the enemies.
But the problem is that we see each other as enemies.
Yeah, which is not.
And which is not, because at the end of the day, just because you like the haircut that you have and I like the haircut that I have, that doesn't mean we cannot be friends.
Yeah.
That makes sense? So it's just the same thing. So I disagree on that, because everybody has a point of view. But you see things in a point of view of what is the best for you sometimes, what is benefiting you. Not a lot of people want to see it like that.
Let's go to a little bit to your family. So you said you came here with three brothers?
Three brothers. Myself, yeah.
So you have
Actually, I'm sorry. Two of my brothers came with me, so it was three of us. My older brother was out of the package because he turned 21 years old. And when you turn 21 years old, you automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So he was left in Honduras. But because my mom, they gave her 6 months to live, with the humanitarian visa, we were able to bring him, because they give it only 6 to 5 months to live to my mom. So with that letter, he was able to come to the States, and he stayed here. Yeah.
I wouldn't bring this up if you didn't have a post about it. So you've lost one of your brother, right? Kevin?
Yes.
Can you tell me the story?
Yeah. So my mom passed away, right, 2002. So a few, year or two later, my dad got married again. He got married and had 2 more kids. My brother Kevin, and then my sister Kiara. And he grew up with me. I was, 16, 17 years old. He grew up with me. He would go to soccer games with me, all that stuff. So he grew up like kind of being like my little brother, but at the same time like my son, basically.
Yeah, you say that son.
Yeah.
Was like.
Yeah. So growing up, he was close to me and everything. He was the kind of kid that he would look up to me. He looked up to me a lot. So I had my businesses. I had 10 offices for auto insurance and taxes with my wife, franchises. And also I opened up another business, which it was some body shops that I used to have. And then in 2018, something happened with my partner in the body shop that I was not okay with it. I was not okay with it, or what he was doing in the business. So I stepped down. And then my wife told me about life insurance. And I said, well, I'm good. Let's work in auto insurance. Time went by, July, because she was pregnant at the time of my little girl. So the baby girl was born in April, Grace. And then Marlene, which is one of the founders of the company and PHP agency, she reached out to my wife and stayed in contact and said, oh, well, should we just sit down again? And happens for me that I was open to the opportunity of sitting down with them. We sit down with them. And you may be asking what all this thing has to do with what I'm about to tell you, but has everything to do with them, because I'm in the company already. I got started July. I get my license. I sell my business October 31st, 2019, the auto insurance business. I sold it for multiple 7 figures. And then in November comes around. In November, we have Thanksgiving, right? What do we do on Thanksgiving? We get together with our family. We have dinner. And that was on a Thursday. On Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, my brother, Kevin, 15 years old at the time, had a soccer tournament in Temecula. He goes that Friday. On Saturday, he played a final. And that Saturday afternoon or morning, I was here in Burbank and in a training from the company. And we came with my wife, and I just passed by it right now that I was driving over here, the Westfield Mall.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So we were there shopping because she was leaving December 1st with her sister to go to New York. So I took her shopping here. And then we were driving back home to Whittier. And when I'm driving back home, I get the phone call from my stepmom. Something happened to Kevin. You need to go to Temecula. I'm here. I was driving like 120 miles an hour to Temecula. A few hours drive. I was driving as fast as I could. I drive. I get there to the hospital. I see Kevin in the far end with tooth connected in his nose and mouth. And I didn't walk to his bed. I told the doctor I don't want to walk all the way over there. And they put me in a little room, and they told me things doesn't look good. And my ignorance of that's when you know that not, and this story I haven't told anybody. There'll be the first time I said this. I'm in that little room and I'm with the doctor and the nurse. And they're telling me things are not looking good. I had just sold my business a couple of weeks ago. And I told the doctor, do whatever you have to do. Money is not an issue. I will pay you whatever I need to pay you so you can save my little brother. But now with the understanding that when God has a will, there's nothing that can stop it. And unfortunately, he passed away 12 hours later at 15 years old. He was playing soccer. He collapsed in the soccer field. His heart exploded in his chest. So, his lungs got filled of liquid, of blood and stuff like that. And he was gone like that. Done. After being in my house, 2 days later, he's gone. December 1st, 2019.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's when you realize that money is not everything in life. And that's why I tell my guys all the time, they'll probably watch this and stuff, but I tell them all the time, and I have never told this story, by the way, of that conversation with the doctor. And that's where I realized that money is not everything. Money is nothing. Money is just a byproduct of everything you do in a day-to-day. You can give you a good life, can give you a good car, but when things like that happen, there's no money that would change that because it's already destined to happen. So that was December 2019 when he passed away.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
And he was a writer in my dad's policy, and that's when I came into the industry of life insurance and financial. The reason why I got started in life insurance and financial services was because of the story of my mom. She died, no life insurance, no money. So I'm like, you know what, let me get licensed, let me help my community with it. And that's how I started. Got licensed, started helping people with information. Little did I know. That happened to my brother. My brother was a writer in my dad's policy, my life policy that my dad had. And I was able to make the claim, and I was able to see what a life insurance can do for a family.
Yeah.
So my stepmom didn't work for a whole year and a half because she was able to get that claim. Because I was the one who covered all the services for my brother. I covered with the money to pay for everything, expenses. And so, but I was able to see that my stepmom didn't work for a whole year and a half. That's what I understood when I was doing in this business. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to make sure that I tell the story every time I talk to people about my story. And they know that I'm doing this because, not for money, I'll do it. And sometimes we cannot understand because people is like, well, how do you make your money? How do you like good stuff, like the cars and stuff like that, the watches, right, and stuff like that? Well, like I said, it's just material things. They come and go. They have no value. They look nice, but they have no value. So I understood what I can do in this opportunity. And then January 2020, I started running in the company. And since then, I've been running with the opportunity for 4 years now.
How many employees do you have?
Employees, or because nobody's employee in my
I know that, but
in my business, but employees that work for me, I have 5.
Okay, and
5.
How many agents do you have in your company?
Currently, 860 agents.
160 agents.
860.
860.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you about leadership, because I thought of this a few years ago. So 50 years ago, this is what we had in the area of leadership, right? So we had Muhammad Ali. Mm-hmm. He had a voice. He refused to go to Vietnam because of his values and principles. He said no, right? He had a very strong voice. We had Martin Luther King, right? He fought for the blacks. We have the Mahatma Gandhi. He fought for India, non-violent way to get rid of the Britons. Then we had Reagan, Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, all of them, right? In fashion, we had Gianni Versace, Lagerfeld. We've got Armani, all those guys. In sports, we had Michael Jordan, I want to say, Schumacher, Pelé. So these were the voices of the world. They had the voice. They had their own opinion. They weren't afraid to speak up. What we have now is in politics, right? So we have Biden, we have Trump. We have Putin, we have Xi Jinping, which is a Chinese dictator, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So in fashion, we got what right now? Dolce and Gabbana, which are, I believe, still in prison.
Yep.
For the tax evasion. We've got maybe Tom Ford. He's amazing, right?
Yeah.
In sports, we've got who? LeBron, who is a Chinese sellout.
Joke?
Yes.
A joke.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw it, that in the last game he went to see his son. They play in the United States anthem, and this guy just walks right through it. He's walking right through it. Instead of stopping and putting respect to the people that serve this country, and he just walked through it like nothing. Like he's a big shot.
That's a joke.
It's a joke. This guy is a joke. I don't follow basketball at all, but I know this guy is a joke for sure.
I know that this guy is a joke when he crowns himself. Michael Jordan never did that. He never did this.
No.
This guy does this.
There's a difference between ego and being arrogant.
Yeah.
This guy's an arrogant guy. Because ego, sometimes it's good, ego.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because it drives you.
Yeah.
But when you're arrogant, that is not a good combination.
So in sports, we've got LeBron, we've got Ronaldo, which is a great player, but does his opinion matter on something?
No,
maybe
it doesn't.
Whether you drink water or Coca-Cola,
No,
that's it, right?
no.
We've got Connor, which in the past 2 to 3 weeks had some kind of a voice and beef with Ireland, with all those migrants. So he's one of them.
Yep.
Okay. So in business, we've got Elon, who has a voice and the one who does something for the world, and we've got nobody else.
Nobody else.
We've got Zuckerberg, who is a copycat. He invented Facebook. Everything else he bought and almost ruined. We've got Bill Gates, who has Microsoft for 50 years. Nothing else, right? That's it. Who else? We got Jeff Bezos, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Jeff Bezos is good. But also we have new leaders rising up too. I mean, Patrick Bet-David. This guy is not just because he's the CEO of our company and founder, but this guy's amazing. He's putting out there to the world what he's trying to do. We're building a community. We're going to be strong leaders. We're going to have the next president of this country. We're going to develop our kids to be the best and greatest to replace us in the future. This guy is amazing. This guy, not from a business standpoint, but he's literally somebody that is good. You're going to be listening. You're going to be seeing in the next 3 to 5 years exactly what he's working on.
And he's not only about money.
No. I could tell
way
you,
more.
He's not all about money because he has made a lot of money and he's made it clear all the time. He just wants to make sure that we create the next and future leaders of our country. That's literally it. He started PHP Agents in 2009 with 66 agents. To 2023 right now, we're about 40,000 licensed agents and growing. And we speak about values and principles that no other company is talking about values and principles. The respect to a man and a woman, the respect of your wife and your kids, marriage, all those things, respect to everybody, no matter of their color of their skin, the language they speak. We don't care about that. We just care about the people that come into us in our company, literally to see what the best version of yourself can look like. So we don't get judged by anything. You cannot even speak English. We have a guy, great story, Rodolfo Vargas, didn't speak no English. He didn't do nothing for 5 years in the company. But you know why? He showed up to all the trainings. He learned English in the trainings. Now he's one of the multi-million-dollar guys in the company. So we're creating a culture, an environment that doesn't allow you to be a victim. And I like that. And that's why even my dad passed away last year. 68 years old, prostate cancer. He passed away on a Tuesday. I do my trainings on a Wednesday night. I do the presentation of the business on Wednesday night. Guess who did the presentation the next day? I did. Because I don't want to be seen as a victim. Being seen as a victim is not cool at all. Okay? You got to be strong. There's things, and again, it's because all of this circle that I'm telling you about, being around Patrick, even my wife is a big part of this. My wife, when my brother passed away, we had an event here in Beverly Hills 7 days after my brother passed away. You know what she told me? If you don't go, you're being selfish. What are you telling me? Being selfish? Why? I mean, my brother just passed away. I'm in pain. She said, because you can be an example to 100, if not thousands of people if you don't go. I'm like, you're right. So guess what? Got my things there. Let's go. We went. I'm glad I went. But nobody feels sorry for me. And I'm good with that, right? My dad passes away on a Tuesday morning, 5 minutes after I get off the call with Patrick. And go take care of him. Next day, I'm doing the presentation of the business. And people's like, how is it that you were able to do that? Very simple. There's things you control, and there's things that you cannot control. And most people lose their life trying to figure it out how to control things. And there's only one person only that can take control of things. Oh. And it's God. That's it. But there's things you can control. Like if you drink right now and we're drinking whiskey, okay, and we go and get a car and we drive and we get into a crash, can you control that? Of course, you don't drink and you don't drive, right? You control that. But things of nature of my brother passing away, the way he did, my dad passing away, those things I cannot control. And that doesn't mean I'm going to stop my life for it. It's just that it's God's will. And that's it.
So before we'll talk about the leadership. Can you talk about? Can you tell me about your father? Because I saw your post and you said this is how the retirement should look like, and there was a video of your father and a few cows.
Yeah. So when my dad got diagnosed with cancer, when he was 63 years old, I told him I don't want you to work no more. So he stopped working. My dad worked all his life. He was a hardworking man, and even I was remembering a few days back, when my dad used to work in Honduras, he used to work for the company that delivers the beers and sodas and different markets in Honduras. So when my dad used to come home, either me or my other brothers, but usually it was me, he would come home, he would sit in his chair, and I'll take off his shoes, his socks, and give him his sandals. And my mom used to cook. In the afternoon, nobody will eat until my dad get home. The first plate was for the man that was working in the street. So it was my dad. So the first plate that come out, it was for my dad. Everybody else had to wait. So, and the way he got diagnosed with cancer, and obviously here we're a number in the United States when it comes down to medical treatment. They give him 5 to 6 months to live, and he refused to have a treatment here in the United States. And we found a doctor in Ensenada, Mexico, changed his diet, give him plasma shots. He was able to survive 5 more years. Years. 5 more years. So that should tell you a lot, right? So my father, that video you're talking about is because I told my dad, don't worry about it. You need something, you tell me. You need money? Don't worry. I need money to go buy more cows in Honduras, and he has properties over there. And yeah, wait, here you go. You need money? Here you go.
But you could have retired him earlier. He didn't want that?
He didn't want to retire.
Because once you retire, you're kind of done, right?
Yeah, kind of like you're done. He always liked to be busy. And so I retired him, and I forced him to retire after he got diagnosed with cancer. And then he was going back and forth to Honduras, and he has a little ranch right there and cows and stuff like that. So he enjoyed his retirement. And unfortunately, pandemic hit, border closed, right? So he was not able to go back to Ensenada to get his treatment. So for a whole year and a half, he didn't have his treatment. Probably he would be still alive right now. I don't know. But
This shitty policy has killed so many people that just missed the doctor's appointment.
yep,
That's bullshit.
it is bullshit.
Do you believe this can happen again? People will
Oh yes.
fall into this?
Oh yeah, of course.
Really?
Oh yeah, of course, because everybody's dominated by what they see. Everybody's dominated by what they see. You say something they don't agree on, they're gonna start attacking you. I saw the interview you did with Ricardo Aguilar. There was a bunch of comments. People that don't understand. They just talk because they just want to talk, just because they see something here. Doesn't matter. Go do your homework. Just because, it's like, sometimes people go to church and they're so lazy that everything the pastor is speaking about is where? Where's that pastor teaching you from?
In the Bible.
In the Bible. It's in a book. Go read it. Go make your own assumptions. But no, they want somebody to read it for them because they're so lazy to pick it up and read it.
You see, the problem I see right now is of people having to have not the news, but the opinion about it.
Everybody
Not the
wants to have
statistics. This happened, 12 people died. They want to hear not the statistics that 12 people died. They want to hear about the opinion
Exactly.
of a journalist.
Exactly.
But that's not journalism.
It's not.
You have to report on events.
But again, it's just that they're being controlled about these things. And they just want to put out there what they want to put out there. That's it. Just what they want people to drive on.
What about media in Honduras? Do they praise the government?
All the time.
Best of the best.
Best of the best. Best of the best. Best of the best. That's why, you know what? I don't watch news at all. I don't watch Univision, Telemundo, all that stuff. It's all BS, They just pick on people making comments, and they go on the famous people and stuff like that, and they just pick on each other.
So Ricardo, in that podcast that you've mentioned, he said that there's a big racism problem in Mexico. Is there something similar in Honduras? The darker you are, the less attractive you feel?
No, you know what? In Honduras, we have a big population of African Americans. They call them Garifunas. They're native of one of the cities in Honduras. So
they were brought as slaves a few centuries ago.
A few centuries ago. Yeah, they left but we have a big population of African Americans in Honduras. But there was no, I would say that I ever saw, I didn't see any races happening. And I think what Ricardo was trying to talk about in that video is, and we see it, it's just like, Peru has the same problem right now. They have a lot of people from Venezuela that went to Peru, and they try to kick them out. Why? Because the Venezuelans are going into Peru, and if a Peruvian works for, let's say, an example, right, for $10 an hour, Venezuelan is it will do it for $5 an hour.
Business.
So for the business, who are they going to hire? The guy that is willing to work for cheap. But guess what? Venezuelans are coming because of the pain they're suffering in their country, right? So they're willing to do whatever at any price, but they're just trying to make a living. So that's where the problem starts. And that's the same thing, I guess, with Mexico as well, is that people immigrate from Nicaragua, Salvador, Honduras, and they go, up north. They're getting closer to this country, and they need to work because they need to eat. So what do? Oh, this guy that was born and raised in Mexico charges 100 pesos to work for this job, but you're from Honduras and you can do it too? Can you do it for 50? Yes. So guess what? I'm willing to pay 50. Why not, right? I'm not taking advantage of people. It's just the price they're willing to take, right? So that's kind of the way I saw what he was talking about in the video, because I watched it.
Yeah, he also said that the darker you are, the more people are pinned against you because you're mixed with the natives.
Yep.
So he says this is a great example. So every time you see a soap opera, right, Telemundo Presenta, you see all the Mexicans white, like Spaniards, which is not true.
It's not true.
But this is how when I was a kid, Telemundo was big in Lithuania, in former USSR countries, Russia, Lithuania, Poland, Belarus.
Really?
Like, big. Everyone was watching Telemundo, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, everyone was watching. They were sitting 5 p.m., 6 p.m., like every family, grandma, granddad, father, mother, kids, like this.
Wow.
Like this, yeah. Lopez is in love with Ricardo. Oh, let's see, for 5 years. And all the actresses and all the actors were white, pale white. And we were like, oh, so this is how the Mexicans look like, which is not true.
It's not true. Not true. It's
Once
not
you
true.
come here, then you realize, oh, you're so dark, but this is how a Mexican looks like. Not the way Guadalupe was shown on the TV, okay?
It is. It is the same thing in Honduras. In Honduras, if you look, it's the same thing. You have to be good looking, white, and to be able to be in TV and stuff like that.
Let's get into the leadership. So, I've got a few questions.
Tell me.
At what point of your life did you realize that you can lead people? Because being a leader is something that I want to say you were born with. You're blessed from God with being a strong and a good leader. Not everyone can be a leader, correct?
No.
When did you realize that, and how did that happen? Was that in your childhood when you were gathering in a yard and let's play this game? You were the one who was organizing. Let's get the ball. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that. How did this happen?
Yeah, since I was a kid, my mom used to be a person that, even though she was a stay-home mom, people, when you say stay-home mom, people think that you're lazy, okay, as a woman. And many women get categorized as, oh, just because you stay home, you're lazy, you don't do nothing around, right? But let me tell you.
So delusional.
It's so delusional. Because I remember my mom, when I used to be sick and I didn't go to school, like the whole morning, they wake up, get the food ready, kids get ready to school, go drop them off, come back, see what's going to be cooked for the afternoon lunch, clothes, to be washing the clothes, cleaning the house. Like, it's a whole circle, right? It's a lot of work. So my mom, even though she was a stay-home mom, she was a hustler. She used to sell Tupperware.
Oh, man.
She used to sell Tupperware. So we used to go on buses with a bag of Tupperwares and go sell them, deliver, whatever, right? And also
Wait a minute, that's back in Honduras or here
Honduras?
in the US?
Honduras. Yeah, Honduras. So we used to go on the bus, like for 2-3 hours on the bus away to go deliver the Tupperware, okay? And come back home. Also, she used to cook and make food and will give my dad food to sell for the drivers. Like, she was a hustler. So I always saw my mom fighting. Always saw my mom, trying to see how she can make extra money. At one point, we had a restaurant too in Honduras. We used to, have a restaurant there, and she was always finding a way to make money. So I grew up playing soccer, and yes, you're right. I was always putting the teams together, and who's gonna be playing where, and calling the shots and everything. So yeah, that's I guess that's where it comes. And like you said, yeah, it's probably a gift from God that I didn't find until probably last 4 years ago. More.
33.
When I
Around
was
30 years old.
old. 33 years old when I came into PHP. Yeah, that's when I fully kind of understand my role.
You understood that you're wired different, right?
I'm wired different. And the only difference I would tell you, Apollo, is to be a leader, you got to be willing to do what you ask your people to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it.
Otherwise, you're full of shit.
You're full of shit. Yeah. Yeah. If you're not willing to go in the trenches and do what you're asking your people to do, it's like right now, I'm way over here, right? I can say, oh, I can go here. Hey, let me see what I can do. So one of my guys had an appointment in La Puente, stopped there, did my appointment. I had another appointment in the morning. I was in a call with Pat, came, had another appointment in the office, boom, stopped at this one, came here. After here, I have another office here in Glendale that I have about 80 agents there that we're gonna be training tonight.
Tonight.
So I'm probably gonna get home around 1 o'clock in the morning. This is my Tuesdays, right? So being a leader is not a title. You don't earn a title by the money you make or by a title that you hold. It's about being willing to do and go an extra mile to make sure your people win as well. Because if me coming over here to train my guys is for them to get what I know so they can apply it so they can win. It's not about me winning.
Out of 4 boys in your family, you and 3 brothers, how many of them became leaders?
Just me.
Just you?
Just me.
So that was a gift from God, plus you saw the leadership that your mom bring to the family.
Yeah.
You were following her steps, some kind of.
Yeah. Always, something that I was 19 years old and I was working in the airport and that day was raining and I'm sitting there and I'm in my break and I started thinking about, my life and I started asking myself questions about, my mom made the sacrifice and my dad to bring us to this country for what? And I remember my mom telling us, I want to leave you guys in the U.S. because I want you guys to have a better future. So at 19 years old, I was like, well, what am I doing working for somebody else? We didn't come this far, well, my mom didn't come this far and my dad, for us to be working for somebody else. I got to find a way that I can become a business owner, to be able to have my own business and work for myself. So that didn't happen until I was like 24, 25 years old, that I started having my first business in transportation. I used to have trucks, 6 trucks moving freight. And then after that, I met my wife, dancing salsa in Long Beach. And that's how I got into auto insurance.
Why was your mom wired that way? So her life was even tougher?
Oh, yeah.
So
Way
the tougher you are, the more responsibility you take. That's why we have some, I want to say, weak new generation.
Yes.
Because life is pretty good for them.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
why you put so much of a pressure on your kids.
Yes. Oh, definitely. So, pain and struggle is so necessary right now because that will make you a better person in life. Even God gave his own son to be crucified, to go through pain for him to understand the beauty of life. As humans, we want to avoid pain. And this is a gift or mechanism as a human to go to pain. And when things are easy for us, we don't develop that muscle. So you have to go, and I think in the society that we live right now, everybody want to start right here. And when they lose, they don't know how to go back up.
But that doesn't mean if you start here because of your rich parents, for instance, that it's going to be easy. The problems are getting just
worse.
Worse.
Because when you go down and you lose everything, you don't know how to lose. So the problem that we have is that people need to learn how to lose first. Because when you learn how to lose and you are able to go back up, then you're a champion.
So what do you do with your kids?
For example, Mayweather. His sport car is what? 50-0.
Yeah. 50-0. Yeah.
50-0, right? He has never lost. He doesn't know what it is to lose. Not because of the way he's wired. It's just that you're a champion because you did something in a certain way that got you there, but you haven't lost. Because when you lose and you're able to go back up, then you're good. Then you're a champion. Because just like Muhammad Ali, right? He lost. He was able to win again. So it's not learning how to win. We got to teach our kids, learn how to lose.
How to fail.
How to fail.
Intentional.
Like yesterday, I have so much a high standard with my son. He's in jiu-jitsu. Okay? I surprisingly stopped by his class yesterday.
He's 6, right?
He's 6 years old. I stopped surprisingly by his class yesterday. He didn't know I was going to go. My appointment finished, and I went, and I'm sitting there, and I'm watching him. And he saw me, and he was goofing around with the other kids. My father-in-law gave him a tablet, and I made a deal with him. You can pay in the tablet 2 hours of the day, but if the babysitter tells me that you're goofing around in your class, take it away for a whole week. So yesterday was very painful for him because he was goofing around. As soon as we walk out of jiu-jitsu, I said, "Where's your tablet?" "No, Daddy, no." "What were you doing?" "Yeah, I was playing around with the little girl." So exactly. So give me your tablet. My babysitter, by the way, wanted to kill me because my babysitter loves my kids, right? She's like, "But when you were a kid, you used to do that to her." I said, "Yeah, but I'm not going to raise him like that, so you don't tell me what to do." So I got the tablet and I took it away. He's going to get it back until probably tomorrow when he goes to jiu-jitsu again and see how he performs.
What do you do with your teenagers, with the girls?
Have good grades. They need to have good grades. My teenagers didn't get a phone until they were 13 years old. And I have control of the phone.
Why are you so focused on the grades?
Huh?
Why are you so focused on the grades?
It's not that the school is everything, but I just graduated high school and I don't have any degrees in. I'm the first millionaire of my family, basically. It's because it's a standard. Because as a kid, and I tell them this, their only job is to perform in school. Look good in school. That's the only job.
Actually, yeah.
That's the only job. Do you have food? Do you have somebody that pick you up and drop you off from school? Do you have the nice clothes, shoes, everything, trips? What else do you want?
That's your obligation.
That's your obligation. It's your job. That's what I tell my kids. It's your job. This is not just to go to school just because, come on, you go learn algebra, you never use algebra again. And that's reality. You go get a fancy degree and that doesn't mean you're going to get a good job.
You said your girl wants to go to study for NASA.
For NASA,
so that you have to...
Well, I tell them, we have to talk about that. That's right now, she's 15 years old. But I tell them, if you choose a career, it has to be a career where there's opportunity to growth or there's an opportunity for you to open up your own business. So she's been changing here and there, things that she wants to do. So she still doesn't have it that clear, right? So we still...
She likes engineering or she likes space?
She likes drawing. She does pretty nice drawings and stuff like that. Because I used to like to draw. I wanted to be an architect when I was a kid. Because I used to draw very good and do buildings and stuff like that. So I used to do all that stuff when I was a kid.
Now you're building teams.
Now I'm building teams, yeah.
860 agents.
Yeah, in 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 4 years.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people, yeah. Yeah.
So you're with the PHP for almost 4 years right now.
Actually, 4 years in January.
Yeah. Out of 4 years, how many time did you spend not looking for a new agents and building the team, but with selling the policies? Do you sell policies?
Yeah, of course. So when I came into the industry, this industry is so different. Why? Because everybody that comes and work with you, they're 1099 independent.
Yeah.
You cannot fire them.
Yeah.
So it's a voluntary army.
Yeah.
In my previous business, you work for me. If I tell you to do something, you do it.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, what happens? I'll fire you and I get somebody else. This business has taught me so many things because it's totally different. So that understanding, I kind of fought the system for a whole year and a half. For a whole year and a half, I fought the opportunity. I was just going back and looking for locations to open up a body shop because I didn't get it. I didn't like it. I was fighting with my wife too much because I was like, oh, no, this is just not, no.
And at the time, your wife was at the PHP.
Yeah, we were both of them together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we always been in business together with my wife. Yeah. So I was fighting the system didn't understand it because I had to listen to people, understand where they're at. Because my mentality, and you can say, is business owner, I don't get BS from nobody. And then comparing to somebody that has a 9 to 5, trying to go into the entrepreneurial world is totally different language. So now I have to come down to understand where people's coming from. Because I have an advantage of people, if you can say, of everything that I've gone in life. So it's not fair for me to have so much high standard and not come down and try to meet people where they're at. Because it's not the same.
Because they speak the different language than they
different language, different mentalities. So it's understanding where they're coming from to be able to help them go to the next level, little by little.
So right now you've got agents, just like you said, they're not employed by you, so you don't have to pay them a salary. They're not on the payroll.
No.
So they close the deal, they earn the money.
Yeah.
What do you do every time that your agent says, I quit? Do you try to convince him, hey, let's try for 1 month. What do you need? Do you talk to him?
I do talk to them. Yeah, I do talk to them. It's a simple question. Why you think are you quitting? So they tell me
what's the
reason.
most common reason? Why do they quit? Because they can get some contracts?
Because they're used to sometimes when people, especially people that have a job, it's so hard that you're putting out these hours of work and you're not getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't click here. And when you're a business owner, you work 24/7. When you have your own business, it's 24/7. Because you think about the business.
It's also on your mind.
You think about the business, you think about doing it, you think about how you can do better and stuff like that. So most people are not, like for example, somebody that works at McDonald's. If you work at McDonald's and you get out of your job,
You're done.
what do you talk to your friends about? Are you talking to your friends about flipping burgers?
Yeah.
No, right? You talk about your friends about what things you like. Oh, I like to go to the movies. I like to go play soccer. You talk about those things. But somebody that has a business, it's kind of boring because all you talk about is what? Your business. Because you're building your business. So it's just kind of like, kind of difficult to kind of understand that mentality sometimes. And most people don't understand that.
Okay, so can you become a friend with your agent or with
Yes.
your employee? A friend?
Yes, of course. Yeah, most of the guys that I have in my office, they come to my house. We barbecue, we do stuff together. As long as you have values and principles, you're respectful, you bring value to my life, I'm okay having you around.
But how can you get that line, which is if being crossed, it's like too much? Don't forget, I'm your boss.
No. So I'm not their boss. The way I treat my guys is I'm your business partner. So even when you have partners in business, there's things that you're non-negotiable.
Yeah, but you get money from their results. They don't get money from your results, correct?
Yes, they do.
How?
Because if I learn and I teach them, it's like, for example, if you're one of my agents, if I don't teach you the way, how are you going to make money?
Yeah, but I'm not getting that the financial stuff.
You're-
If I close
you're-
the deal, you get, for instance, $10. But if you close the deal, I get none.
But
Because-
if I go in the field with you and you have no experience, okay,
Yeah.
and you're sitting down with a client and you don't know how to do the presentation, and I come in and I do it for you, you get 50% and I get the other 50%. But I'm teaching you how to do the business.
So you bring the expertise.
Yeah. So I'm bringing my expertise and I'm bringing my fails that I made or mistakes that I made in the past to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes. So I'm bringing some value. So it all depends how we see value. If you see it money-wise, of course, if I teach you and I train you the way I am right now, you will make kind of the same money I'm making right now too. But if you were to meet Christian when I got started, I would probably blows you off because I had no experience in anything, systems, products, anything like that. But the person that I am today, I'm not saying I am perfect. No, I'm learning and I'm getting used to a lot of things also in my position right now. So I was just in Florida. We had an event in Florida. All that event, not everybody was there. I'm bringing value. I had conversations with Patrick. I get conversations with leaders in the company that I'm able to talk to my agents about. So the biggest mistake is thinking that you need to have a contribution of money to be able to bring value to somebody, and it doesn't work that way. At least I don't agree with that.
And in PHP, you've got some kind of tiers, right?
Yeah, you got tiers.
So the higher you are, the higher you ranked, you not only get more money, you're financially better, but you have some perks, just like going to a meeting with other leaders,
No.
going on a vacation.
No, that is not correct. So the company was built in capitalism. If you work for it, you deserve it. There's meetings that happen, you need to qualify for it. If you're not qualifying for
Yeah,
it,
but
you're
you
not
qualify
going.
with your results. That's what.
Yeah,
That's
your
what
results.
I mean.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so that's what.
So you need to have results. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to have results to be able to assist to those meetings. So it's not just because you have a position in the company that doesn't allow you to go to meetings. So that's something I love and I welcome, because if you're relaxed and you're not doing whatever you're supposed to be doing, then why would I talk to you if you're not performing?
You're not in the trenches.
You're not in the trenches. I am. I want to fight for my dreams. I want to go right now. Why? Because I'm in the business of compressing time.
What do
I
you
want
mean?
to compressing time, meaning I'm 38 years old right now. I'm not going to be 38 years old for the whole life. I got to go hard right now, sacrifice time. Maybe in 5 years, I'm going to have the lifestyle that I want. And in 5 years, I could retire at 45, let's say. So that's 7 years from now. How many people get to do that in the United States?
Yeah, time flies.
Time flies, right? So I love that about the company. So yes, it goes in tiers. And what I like about it is that I am the perfect example in the company right now. Because I started like everybody else. Brand new, like anybody else. What people have done in 14 years, I'm able to do it in 3.5 years.
Why?
Because that's the way I'm wired.
You spend more time. You don't take no for an answer. You're more brash.
I would not say that. What changed a lot is when the company got started, for example, the policies, for example, it was all paper. So you need to fax the policies.
Yeah.
Now,
technology.
And the phone,
Yeah.
computer is more easier. And then also, I learned from the mistakes that people make when they started the company.
And the industry changed, so the more and more people tap into the product.
Exactly.
So the more and more people want insurance.
Yeah. So now it's easier. Back then was difficult. Now it's easier. So it's learning from those people. Like, okay, what it was, how was it when you started? Oh man, we needed to drive 2 hours to get a signature from the client.
Yeah.
Right now we have DocuSign sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? Some companies accept it, some companies don't. But we have emails now that we can go back and forth.
Okay, so let's take 100 policies that you do. How much of 100 policies or 100% of policies are the clients that come up to you in the first place? They call you and say, hey, I want to... No.
I don't get my clients like that now.
Never.
Never.
You still have to prosper.
I prospect all the time.
Prospect, yeah.
Yeah, by prospecting. It's prospecting all the time, networking events, meeting people. 80% of my guys are business owners. Auto insurance, taxes, lawyers, mortgage, real estate. And then what I bring into the table, I have a system. I have a system that I put together with my wife. Nobody has a system in the company.
You developed the system.
I developed the system.
The system is not technology. The system...
No. It's a filter for people. It's like having a factory, right? When you build cars, you're going to go here first. They're going to put the doors. You're going to go here next. They're going to paint the body. You're going to go here. They're going to put the bumper. They're going to put the tires. Let's grow. So it's kind of like a factory. We call it that power machine. The power machine. That's how I call it. So we have a system inside our office that is just unique about training our agents. That's why we're growing a lot. Right now, I'm one of the fastest growing organizations right now in the company, nationwide.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Have you ever thought of, if you would retire January 1st, 2024, how much money would you get from royalties every year?
Every year, per year, I would say, I don't know, we'll have to look at the number, but...
6 figures?
More than 6 figures, yeah.
By doing nothing?
I won't say by doing nothing.
But if you call it quits, January 1st, you'd still have royalties.
Yeah, I still have residual income.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. There's people that have left the company, and because they have their license active, they still get paid. To this day, that's something I love about the company, is that even if you left, you still get paid.
So you literally hustle for 5 to 10 years, but you do the work,
Yeah.
and you're good.
Yeah, you're good.
You can retire your.
Yeah, I mean, you check it out. Imagine a mortgage. If you're in real estate, let's say you close $2 million in deals,
One-time deal.
and you get 1% of that. What is that? Let's say you close deals of $20 million, okay? And you're able to
1%
get
is-
1%. That's $200,000 a residual income. But real estate don't offer residual income, unfortunately. So you can be doing good in real estate, but you have to be chasing a sell all the time. There's no residual income.
Are there still any people that you have a consultation with, and they say that's a Ponzi scheme?
Oh yeah, all the time, all
Really?
the time.
Still?
And I love it because
It's an easy sell.
it's not an easy sell, but it's just just because somebody said it was a pyramid scheme, that doesn't mean it is. Because what is a pyramid scheme to you? Let's say, if you can tell me.
So the top pays, the bottom pays for the top. Once the bottom doesn't pay, the top doesn't get any money.
But that's wrong, because, for example, let's say you work at Walmart, okay? In Walmart, let's say you start a cashier. You start a cashier. Who is above the cashier? Probably a lead supervisor.
Yeah,
Who's on top of that? A supervisor. Who's on top of that? The manager.
manager.
Who's on top of that? The general manager or the store manager. Who's on top of that? The BPs, right?
Yeah.
If the cashier doesn't do her job, can the general manager get paid?
No.
Why? Because they have to perform a job.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that the cashier doesn't get paid the same amount of money as the general manager?
Yes.
How long is it going to take a cashier to be a general manager?
I want to say a decade.
Decade, right? But that's the thing. I just told you I'm the perfect example. The company's wide open. What if somebody took 14 years to do, I did it in 3.5 years.
Yes. So.
But everybody that starts, I started like everybody else.
Yeah.
Business owner, okay? Making already money, driving nice cars, leaving the house, everything.
Had an exit, 7-figure.
Exit 7 figures, and I still start like everybody else. Because I didn't want them to give me something. I wanted to earn it. People in this society wants to be given something. I can give you 100% contract right now to go sell life insurance. What are you going to do with it? If I don't train you, if I don't teach you, if I don't go in the field with you.
Yeah, but the Ponzi scheme is just like I described.
No, because you're not buying anything monthly. A pyramid scheme is something that you're buying a product every single month.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
Well, you're not buying anything
While
here.
I'm not saying that PHP is a Ponzi scheme. I'm just
yeah,
describing
I
what
know,
the
I
Ponzi
know,
scheme
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Once you buy or once you get the new blood on the bottom, it feeds the top.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Once the bottom is not being filled with new money or new blood, that's it. The top collapses.
And the only way that can happen, at least in our company, is people that are lazy, that they don't want to help their people win. That's the only way it can stop.
So they're not just leaders; they're just
There's
sales agents.
the intentions you have are different than the intentions
Yeah.
that I have,
Yeah.
and everybody's different, right? But for me, it's like I don't spend my time motivating my guys. I spend more time making sure my guys win. If it makes sense. So if you're like
Elaborate.
you come with me, I want to make sure that you win. I'm gonna do everything possible for you to win.
Because if I win, you win.
Exactly. So, but there's no fees that you need to be paying. There's no monthly fees. There's no quotas. You go at your own pace. I got people that, oh yeah, I don't want to recruit. No problem. I just want to sell. No problem. So I don't push people to do things that they don't want either. So a pyramid scheme for me is, yes, the leader in the top makes money because the ones in the bottom have to be paying
Mm-hmm.
something monthly. And I don't want to say names of companies, but
Yes.
there's companies that are pyramid
Every
scheme.
month, even the employees have to buy the
You
shit.
have to buy their products, and you have
Usually
boxes
they're
and boxes and
shitty
boxes
yes.
of inventory.
Yes.
Here, you get licensed to the state of California. So if it was a pyramid scheme, the state of California Department of Insurance won't give you a license.
Come on, FTX a year ago was a legal business.
A legal business, right? But you need to get license, and you have not to pay a penny in a monthly basis. There's no fees. So if you
Well,
don't
you
sell,
pay for
you
your
don't make money.
insurance policy.
Huh?
You have to have a policy.
You're not forced to have one.
You're not even forced.
No.
Okay, I got it.
At least they never forced me to have one.
So out of let's say you work 16 hours a day. Out of 16 hours a day, how many hours do you spend, I want to say, motivating or working with your team?
It depends, because I don't like to motivate people. What I do a lot.
Okay, teach.
What I do a lot is process issues. Sometimes I'll get people in my office. My wife is fighting with me because I think this way. Okay, let's talk about it. Boom.
Yeah, and the issues are not technical, right?
No.
I don't know how to do a sign. The client is, my wife and I are fighting.
Yeah.
So
we become.
You're a shrink.
we call it counsels, okay? We gotta be counselors sometimes. Marriage counselors, right? And that's why I tell people sometimes we don't get paid to do life insurance. We get paid to do counseling.
Yeah.
Because those are the things that I spend more time on. Oh, I'm fighting with my wife. I'm fighting with my husband. He did this. He said this. Back and forward. So we give him guidance.
That's so strange. They get guidance.
But that's the thing, though, is because here, if let's say you have your friends, right, and you get in a fight with your wife, you go with your friends and you go talk to your friends right now. What do you think your friends are going to tell you?
It's
Leave her. Go look for another one. You're good looking. You're a business owner. You can get any woman you want. That's kind of the majority of conversations that will go outside.
If they wish me not the best for me.
But I'm saying majority, okay? I'm not saying everybody, right?
Yeah.
Majority of people will tell you that, right?
Yeah,
let's go drink. Let's go grab a drink. Let's go,
let's go get some girls.
Let's go look. Yeah, exactly, right? That's a typical conversation. But who can tell you, hey, you know what, Apollo? Maybe you messed up, man. Maybe you shouldn't say things this way. Let's sit together. Let's talk about it. Because I believe in this, okay? And this is something my wife and I worked on. Problems in a marriage is when you're cheating, drugs, alcohol, and abuse. Those are problems. Any other thing that happens is just disagreements.
Yeah.
Disagreements. Because you think one way, she thinks a different way. But that doesn't mean that you guys have problems. And majority of people in America, we have a lot of divorces because we don't know how to deal with our disagreements. But if you have problems of cheating, alcoholism, drugs, or abuse, those are problems. Those are serious problems. You need help, right? But disagreements are going to happen all the time. Because I am one way of human being, and I think different than my wife thinks about. Because I don't know her upbringings. I don't know. She doesn't know all my upbringings. There's things right now that my wife and I talk about. She's like, well, you never told me about those things. It's just, different.
But that's the same thing that you said in the beginning of the podcast. If I'm bald and you have another haircut, it doesn't mean we have to be against each other.
Exactly.
If you vote Democrat, I vote Republican, it doesn't mean we can be friends.
Exactly.
But that's so crazy that people go to you with such kind of problems, because it says that the only problem or the only obstacle why people don't do great sales is the mentality. The problem's in their head, not the technical stuff, not the ability to sell or no, but the things that are stuck in their heads. I was in a fight with my wife. I'm
State
not
of mind.
here. Yeah,
Your
I'm not
state of
here
mind.
with my client 100%. That's why I can't close the deal.
Yep. And that's what it basically is. I perform more when I'm happy with my wife.
Yes.
Me personally.
Yes.
I perform better. Like I'm free, I'm doing and going. But when I'm fighting with her,
something right here. Yeah.
But it's true. It's happening right now, and that's why. What is the biggest problem we have in America right now? Money. You come home, you're not making enough money. Problems with the wife, and divorces are happening like left and right. Because of what? Because of money.
I believe the number one reason why people get divorced is, I want to say, money.
Money.
Because of money, they cheat, they do this, they do that, they do drugs, alcohol, all
Gambling,
that
all that stuff.
stuff. Gambling, all that stuff.
Yeah. That is the biggest reason why we have a lot of divorces right now.
How do you recognize your agents when they're just whining and being a victim, and when they're just having a bad day? Do you some kind of a prosecute
Yes,
a
of
victim?
course. Yeah, of course, I can read people. Do you have to develop the art of reading people too? I can sense, and that's something I cannot train people on, but I have a sense of. I am very detail oriented when it comes down to looking at people, body language, how they acting, how they are. Like I know when somebody's sad, I know when somebody's depressed. So I ask questions. Hey, so how's your day going? How's everything? Are you good? Yes, no. Oh, you know what? This is happening. So it starts there, asking questions.
If an agent is some kind of a hiding in the office,
something is wrong.
You go and talk to him.
Oh yeah, of course.
Hey, what's wrong?
Hey, what's wrong? Everything good? Or if I don't see you, I text you. Hey, everything good? Oh, you know this and this and that. Hey, let's talk. Let's have a coffee. Let's go have lunch. Let's talk about it.
When was the last time you as a leader had a struggle, or you kind of had a break point? Like something happened. It's not your day, not your week.
About 2-3 weeks ago.
Can you share what happened? Because the second question would be, can you do that? Can you show weakness as a leader, not for 8 people, for 860 people?
Yeah, but here's the thing though. I learned, that's why I said the first year and a half I was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first year and a half, I would walk in a room and I'll be pissed off. I'll tell my wife, screw this, I'm out. You can stay with your team, I'm out. And I used to walk out.
Mm-hmm.
Now I learn not to do it in front of my guys. Like my guys cannot tell whether I'm mad or when I'm frustrated.
You're stoic.
If I'm mad with my wife, nobody knows. Business, okay, go home, okay, don't talk to me. But that's something you develop, right? But it's an agreement. My wife and I know, like, hey, business is business, house is the house. We're not always gonna agree, but if you need your space, I'll give you space. Okay, you need your space, I'll give you your space, and that's it. But we know how to keep those boundaries now. But it was a whole year and a half processing things with some leaders in the company.
So the biggest struggle for you as a leader is to hide those kind of things.
Yes.
And only a leader will understand that.
Only a leader will understand that.
He will never understand the struggle when you're fucked and you can't say shit. You have to, what's up? Hey, I'm good. Yeah, no, yeah, sure, I'm good.
Yep. That's literally the way it is. There's a video. There's a video on YouTube. You should watch it. It's be nice. So there's this guy giving the talk to his friends. You got to be nice. So if they tell you you're fat, you got to be nice. If they tell you you're short, you got to be nice. And one of the guys says, what about if they tell me my mom is a whore? Is she? You got to be nice. So that's how you gotta be. You gotta be nice, So as a leader, you gotta develop that muscle, right? It's a muscle that even when you want to say things, you bite your tongue and you don't say it, and you gotta be careful who you say it to.
But isn't it the same thing as raising children?
Yes.
You can't lose your temper?
You cannot lose your temper. Because there's a difference between, like my boy, like I told you, this parents about the tablet. I had a conversation with him. I don't need to hit him. I don't need to yell at him. No, hey. I know where to find the pain. And he was crying. And I just took the tablet away. He was crying. Because I know what hurts him. So that's how you kind of start learning how to also dealing with people as well. Like, for example, if one of my guys are not being coachable, no problem. I'll leave you alone. I'll go work with somebody else. This person that I'm working with, guess what? They're making more money. You want to be mad? I'll leave you alone. Focus on here. Oh, you don't want to get... Are you ready? Okay, let's go. This guy makes more money than the other two couples.
If someone in your team misbehaves badly, do you call them out publicly, or you do like
I direct.
one-on-one?
Yeah, because we all go through it. And when you humiliate people, that's the moment you lose them. You humiliate somebody, you're done. You have to be willing. You have to be okay already. You made it up in your mind that you're okay with that person quitting.
Mm.
If you do that.
But maybe sometimes you should show some kind of an example in front of a big audience that this guy did this.
Oh, I speak from stage all the time. And I address it. I don't say names, but I address it.
Gotcha.
This situation happened. This situation happened. I'm not okay with this BS. So make sure you don't do it again. So all those things that happen in a day-to-day, sometimes, let's say, you start picking from it and you start training about it. So to make sure that everybody, that if somebody's thinking about it, guess
Don't
what?
do that.
Guess what? They're thinking about, oh shit, okay, got it. They don't do it. You know what I mean?
How did he know?
How did he know, right? But that's how you know, because people's doing it. So if somebody does it, that means that they're talking about it and the information is leaking. So you got to be smart about that too. Addressing problems before it happens or they get bigger. Yeah.
So you work with your wife. How many hours a day you're with your wife? You see her? You see her?
Yeah, like this morning I saw her, then she went her way, I went my way. Like, sometimes we can be the whole day together. Sometimes probably 2-3 hours in a day. But by the time is like we divide and conquer.
Is it hard for you to work with your wife?
At the beginning it was.
What was the biggest struggle?
The biggest struggle is that when you have your job and your wife has her job or her business, let's say, in case, right?
Two different businesses, you mean?
Two different businesses. Mm-hmm. She working here, you're working here. So when you come together, you haven't seen each other, and you talk about the things that you went through in the day-to-day. But when you work in the same place, they ask you a question or they ask you about something. And the first thing, at least for me, was I was feeling that I was being questioned.
Oh, I gotcha.
Oh, why you didn't call this person? Why you didn't follow up on this? Why you didn't do this?
Your wife did that to you?
Yeah.
Oh, man. She's tough.
Yeah.
She's like your mom.
It's tough. But it was my problem because I was taking it personal. She just trying to look for the best of the business. But I was the one who take it personal. So I kind of understood that. That's why I was like, okay. So it's like I said, we are working with each other. The first year and a half was horrible. The moment we had a conversation and we said, you know what? We don't have problems. We're together. We love each other. We have our kids. Let's stop with this BS of fighting. Let's go play ball. Let's go take this to the next level. The moment we had that conversation, she cried, I cried. Because this is where I went. This is where I went in that moment that I was. If that was my mom, would I be okay a man talking to my mom like that?
Mm-hmm.
And immediately I was broken. Because I was like, hell no. I will kick that, mofo out, right? And I'm not saying that I used to, abuse my wife or anything, but you say things to hurt the other person.
Intentionally,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
With words.
Yes.
Because you're getting attacked and you defend yourself. So I was thinking about it, like if somebody would say that to my mom, I would be like, game on, right? So you treat your wife as you want your mom to be treated.
I heard the same stuff about substitute mom with your daughter. Would you want someone to speak to your daughter just like you speak to your wife? No.
No.
When someone can.
No. And someone can, that's why. But you got to be the example. And then your daughters are looking at you too. So I tell my daughters, I treat you with respect. So I have conversations with my daughters all the time. You don't let nobody disrespect you. You don't let nobody talk down on you and all that stuff.
Would you work with your kids if they
Yeah.
become agents?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it'll be fun to teach them. It's not gonna be easy, but
You would definitely have to teach them to stand and take your right head to the heart when the anthem
oh
is
yeah,
playing.
of course,
Not like
because
Brani.
this country is the best country in the world, like it or not, right?
Only immigrants
Or
understand
leave
this.
it, right? Leave it, go somewhere else, right? But this country has given us, at least for me, gives me the life that I would never had in Honduras. Never in a million years, right? Because I don't come from a family of money, right? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. If who would I be if I was in Honduras? I don't know.
Maybe
No
a
idea.
gang member.
Maybe a gang member, yeah.
So, Christian, you're 38, right?
38 years old.
38 years old. Your mom died when she was 42.
Yeah.
Your dad died when he was 63.
He was 68 years old.
68.
Yeah, last year.
Why? Why so early? Genetics?
I don't know.
Poor life?
No.
Bad habits? Bad food? A lot of stress?
I think a lot of stress. A lot of, I would say, yeah,
42 years old. Because my mom got into a coma when she was 49.
49, yeah.
So that's...
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know diabetes was generic because my mom had diabetes and high blood pressure because my grandma had it. So you can say generics. But I think everything comes down to nutrition and exercise and other stuff as well. Has a lot to do with it. But I don't know.
I have two last questions that are always the same on my podcast. So the first one is, what do you think is the biggest threat right now to the humanity?
In the U.S. or in the world?
No, in the world.
In the world,
Yeah.
is that we have lost the fear of God. And we're not teaching our kids about God. And I've never been a person that will talk about God in business. I don't use God for business. But I think it's really important right now that people lose the favor of God. You have to be fearing losing the favor of God. And this is the times that we need to look for God, for guidance, because I'll tell you, people ask me, how is it that you did it when your brother passed away and your dad passed away and you still run your business and still show up and still perform and still be there? I don't know if I would be able to do that. There's no explanation. There's no explanation other than I got on my knees, I prayed to God to give me the strength and the guidance that I needed. And here I am today. And I'm human. I will say that I haven't broken down many times about crying and missing my dad. Sometimes I'll get, driving, get caught up on getting the phone, trying to call my dad because I used to talk to him every single day. I'll be a hypocrite saying that you don't go through pain. But when you go through pain, your environment is so important because your environment can make you or break you.
And once you find God, you will never be alone.
You will never be alone. You'll never be alone.
You know what I figured out? So I'm 35. I was baptized when I was 1 year old. So that's where I got my name Apollo.
Okay.
And I was never a religious person. But last year with my wife, we were driving and I was like, hey, take a look at this. So right now, there are less and less people that are religious, or at least they have faith in God. They don't believe in God. They're atheists, or even they worship a devil, demons, and some stuff, right? So this is how the world looks like without God. Do I like it? No, I don't. So if this is the way that the world looks like without God, I believe I should find one.
Yeah.
Because that's not what I want
That's
for
not
me
what you
and for
want
my
for
family.
for your family as well. Yeah.
I can, just like you said, I don't agree with a lot that religion gives us. I don't like the Pope. I don't like these traditions. I don't like these authorities when you can come to some kind of a person and say, oh, I was bad. They say, I forgive you. You're not the one to give me forgiveness, right? But God, I believe it's not even a questionable thing.
No, it's not. And that's why I said, my biggest church is my house. the values and principles I tell my kids and teach my kids. The fear of God, right? They go to Christian school, they go to private school. And that's another thing too. I, make the investment of having my kids in a private school because I want them to know about God. It's not that that's going to do it for them in life, but at least they know.
Yeah.
At least they know and they can decide when they grow up. Like none of my kids are baptized because when they grow up, they can then make a decision. Yeah. One of my daughters, my 13-year-old, she's like, I want to get baptized. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. She's the only one that's been baptized.
Well, we're all human beings, so we should fear, we not even should, but we fear someone. If you're godless, you fear what? Police, maybe government, maybe some gangs and etc.
Yep.
But maybe you should substitute this to be fearful of God.
Be fearful of God, yeah. I 100% believe on that. And again, I don't know. I've been trying to look for that answer people ask me, but there's nothing I can tell you that's one is God, second is the environment I'm in, because people don't feel sorry for me. Because usually, when you go through pain, you have money, and you have to run associations, boy, you're on for destruction. Because, you go drinking,
you can
partying,
afford anything, yeah.
You get in drugs, all that stuff, and it just doesn't do it. So that's why I said, things happen for a reason. Don't know why, but I have my businesses, and I came to the company to work with Patrick and the leaders in the company, and they have guided me through all this process. And here I am today, 4 years later,
Cristian, the last question is this. So let's have two assumptions with you. Assumption number one is the most powerful human being on planet Earth is the President of the United States. Assumption number two is you become one. You become the President of the US. Once you do so, the Secret Service comes to you and says, hello, Mr. President, congratulations. We know all the answers. We're with you, we love you, and we know all the answers in the world. You ask us, we give you an honest answer. What would be your first question?
What would be my first question? Who's controlling the country and the real world? That would be my question. Who's really in charge?
Imagine they say 3, 2, 4, 5 names. How do you feel? That you're not the one who rules the country, even though you're a president.
I don't know how would I feel, but I want to meet them at least, because I believe that that's what is happening here. I mean, you say of Biden, this guy sleeps all the time. He's always sleeping,
Do you think he acknowledges he's the president?
No. No. He doesn't. There's no way. With everything that we're going on right now, there's no way.
Can you imagine if that kind of a president was in Iran, in Russia, in China?
I think it would
Those
even
countries
last.
would be smashed.
It would even last a week. But that's a problem here. Is just, everything going on here in California, especially. I don't know if you saw the law that Gavin Newsom just released and signed, that you're okay to smoke marijuana even when you're on the clock.
Because you've got rights. You have human rights.
It's just a joke. Again, it's, people leaving California, hating, doing these things and there. I tell people, oh, you got to go and move to Texas, because that was the first question you asked me. Yeah. Any plans of moving? Well, why would I move? I mean, things are going to be expensive, whether I'm this side of town or on the other side of town. What I got to do is work hard, make more money. And that's the way it is. There's no way of running around from it. Texas, there's things that are cheaper, but there's things that are more expensive. There, maybe you like the weather, maybe you don't like the weather.
You can't replicate the nature and the climate of California. You can't. Yeah. It's one of a kind.
It's humid. I was just in Houston a couple of months ago. It's humid.
You're sweaty.
You're sweaty. And that's the same in Honduras. In Honduras, it's humid. It's like you're inside a pressure stove, right? And it's humid. And you start sweating. You come out of the shower. And if you don't have the AC, well, guess what? You spend more money on electricity. So it's the end of the day is
you pay extra tax right
you
here
pay
for the weather.
Everything. You end up paying the same. So
Christian, thank you for your time. And if I see in 10 years, maybe 20 years, you on the news, maybe on somewhere on Twitter or on Instagram, that you're some kind of a leader in Honduras, that you do some great stuff over there, I would be so happy for you.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Because only in 2 hours, just like you said, you feel people.
Yeah.
And in those 2 hours, I felt you that you're at least you're authentic. You're not full of shit.
Nope. And this is what you get all the time, And I think that's why I have the blessings of having a lot of business partners, because I tell people how it is. I put everything in the table. I don't want you to come back tomorrow and tell me, hey, Christian, you didn't tell me about this.
No backstabbing, no knife.
No. There's something I like about Patrick that he talks about all the time. You and everything you do, Christian, or he tells everybody, you want to make your pillow softer. When you go to sleep, your pillow is softer. Why? Because I don't have to be thinking about I take advantage of somebody. I can go to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about I did something wrong. I can go to sleep. So you got to make your pillow softer all the time. And sometimes people, like I said, my ex-partner too, just, people that I don't know if they sleep good or not.
God bless you. God bless all your family.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Likewise to you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and share my story, because that's what I started actually in this industry too, to be able to tell my story, to be able to talk about where I come from and kind of understand, like, you're an immigrant. I'm an immigrant. Not a lot of people understand where we come from. What is the beauty of coming from another country to this country?
We know what it's like in our country.
Yes, but people don't know, and people cannot relate to that.
Yeah.
So you and I have to be the examples of what it is to have a desire to do something better in our lives.
Well, I'm only starting. So your story is being written for 23 years. Mine is only 6 to 8 months.
6 to 8 months?
Yes.
Wow. Hey, but guess what? You're in the land of opportunities, and by doing these connections and stuff like that, doing what you're doing, I'm pretty sure God is going to bless you too, because you're doing the right thing. Focusing on the right values and principles, that will open any door you want to open.
Amen.
All right?
Amen.